So we slaughtered Joey Ramone yesterday, and I want to talk to you guys about it, why we did it the way we did it, how it went, what I've learned, and I don't know, just think a little bit about Joey. Because just because an animal is raised for food doesn't mean they don't matter. What are you doing there, Pablo Barn Cat? I know, I gotta still wash out that bucket. I've cleaned out all the other buckets, but that's the last one that we have. So actually the spot that I'm standing in right now is the spot where Joey got processed. We got some more rain last night. So while there was some blood there, it's all pretty much gone at this point and been washed away. While Joey Ramone wasn't the first steer that we ever had on our farm, he was the first steer that was born on this farm and died on this farm. And I guess to me, that's an important milestone. Because when I think about how I want to raise animals for food on this farm and like the approach I want to take and like the type of life that I want the animal to have before it dies, I don't know, I feel like Joey Ramone pretty much was spot on for what I was looking for. Good morning, Abby dog. How are you doing? How's it going, girl? What you doing there, Topes? Good to see you, buddy. Oh, it looks like he's having just the last of the remains from his dinner last night. While the dogs don't like it when we do processing on the farm, they do like the result of when we do processing on the farm. Isn't that right, Toby dog? Good morning, Bluey. Good morning, Bingo. Good morning, Barnacus. Good morning, Telemachus. Good morning, Larn. Here, we'll let you guys out. Come on out, come on out. Let's feed the girls because I've been supplementing their diet a little bit so they get all the nutrition they need. Come on, girls, out you go. Uh-oh, what you got there, Ginny Barn Cat? Please try to make that a quick and painless kill, okay? You don't want to be in any part of that business, girls. Yes, sometimes life on the farm can be beautiful, but other times it can be brutal. And just like Ginny needs to eat and do her job, I suppose humans need to do the same thing as well. Okay, girls, okay, here's your goat feed. Enjoy. See if you can keep the chickens out. It's kind of fun watching the goats compete with the chickens. They do a pretty good job at it, but it is kind of funny when they like drop a bit. The chickens are right there. This one rooster, he needs a name. He's one of our new roosters for the year. Gotta give him a name. These two, actually. This guy, he's particularly sassy. He might not make it through the winter. I have a couple more. Hey. Leave that alone. Get out of there. Get out of there. I have a few more roosters that didn't look like roosters when I was sorting them, and so I will probably process a couple more this winter when I see who's got the good attitude and who doesn't. This guy right here, I don't know if he's got the right temperament for what I'm looking for. But I digress, because actually, as I was saying, you know, Joey Ramone was the very first steer that we ever had born and to die here on the farm. After the experience, I think I'm gonna probably always do it this way. I liked it better than the processing approach by far. You know, it was pretty much like right over here, right by that metal pole, was where Joey Ramone was born back in, I guess it was early April 2022. So it's been a really rainy day here on the farm. I'm going to check on Annabelle the cow right now. She looked like about 2 hours ago, she was getting really close to being in labor. I was watching her for a bit, but then I just went inside because of the downpours. And now I'm coming back outside now that it's stopped. And would you look at that? It's a little calf. Hey, sweetie, good job. He's actually been pretty friendly. He's a little spooked right now because I'm talking loud for the camera. But Allison and I have decided on a name for him. His name's gonna be Joey Ramone. You know, it's so funny to see him, right? He's really cute. Very interesting coat. Even though he looked all black when he was first born, he actually seems like he's gonna have like patches of brown to him. It's gonna be an interesting coat that he's gonna have. Can I get a little pet? Yeah. You're gonna let me pet you. You're such a good boy. Like Joey Ramone was part of my first class of calves. Like on our farm, our very first calf was Belinda Carlisle. Then we had Jimi Hendrix. Then we had Joey Ramone. So he was calf number 3 on the farm. And then we actually also had Bonnie McMurray. Bonnie and Belinda are still here on the farm. They're actually cows now. They had their first calves this spring. I'll show you them later in this video when we go up to do the cow chores. I ended up selling Jimi Hendrix to a friend of mine where he was gonna go be a bull. The reason I haven't done updates on this is just because that story, it gets ugly. And I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna tell it, but I'm not gonna tell that one right now. But Joey Ramone, he became the first steer of our farm-raised classes. And so based on the advice of a lot of folks, I decided not to try to castrate him right out of the gate. And what I ended up doing was letting him grow a little bit so he could get a little bit bigger. A lot of folks have said that when you let a baby bull calf keep his testicles for longer, you're gonna get a better beef animal. And so yeah, that's precisely what we ended up doing. I often say that for my animals on the farm, I try to give them a good life where they can live and play and be like the animals they're intended to be. And really, they only have one bad day if they're being raised for meat. And that was the goal with Joey Ramone. I think admittedly though, he probably had 2 bad days. And that first bad day happened right about here, which is probably about, I don't know, 20 feet from where he was born. And that was the day that we actually castrated him. I had my vet come out and she did it. And yes, he had to be sedated. We got little Joey Ramone. He's actually in the recuperation pen right now. Everything's good. He's all sealed up. That blood right there was just right from the surgery. Joey had so much hair. It was pretty ridiculous. We actually had to shave Joey's nether region because he had so much hair. He's actually looking pretty darn good. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing there. So let's go inside for a closer look. How's it going, pal? Seem like you have some good energy going. Yeah? We get to say hi? Can we get back there? Yeah, it looks like it's healing up. That's exactly what we want to see. I mean, we tried to do it as humanely as possible. He was under anesthesia. I checked him and made sure his cut didn't get infected or anything like that. And so after that moment, Joey got settled here pretty shortly thereafter because I'd purchased my bull Macho Man that summer and he was coming in February. I basically decided to use Joey as a friend for Macho Man because I didn't want to expose Macho Man to my herd in the middle of winter because that would give me calves at the wrong time of year. And so yeah, Joey and Randy pretty much for the entire rest of Joey's life became real partners or almost a tag team on the farm. What do you think, Joey? You ready to go see Randy? I wonder if the two of them are gonna butt heads too. And Randy, what do you think? I see you over in this corner. Like you probably want a friend. You and Joey Ramone have gotten to know each other. Hi, buddy. Okay, you want me to scratch you? You know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. Get him through. Close this up. Up. We got our 2 boys hanging out together. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Joey. Hey. Yeah, it wasn't always the best pairing. They were like one of those tag teams that would often break up, whether it be like the Rockers or Macho Man and Hogan. And this is why I always feel a strong need to be careful. Come on, girls, let's go back inside. Come on, back in. Part of what I'm working on right now with the girls is bucket training. That way, I don't even have to lead them with their leashes. I can just lead them by carrying a bucket. It's pretty much already there. But sorry, girls, that's all your grain for the day. If you're hungry, there's plenty of pumpkins to snack on still. It is an annual November tradition here on Goldshaw Farm that on the morning of November 1st, Alfred's wife always texts me and asks if I want the pumpkins from that night before's like Halloween trunk or treat that we do in the center of town. And I'm always like, oh yeah, definitely. And so I'll round up a pickup truck load of pumpkins and I dump them down here over the next couple of days. What you see here are the last dregs of it. I think all of the birds and goats have eaten, I don't know how many pumpkins, but a whole heck of a lot at this point. And I see Abby Dog is still gnawing away at the treat that they got from last night. It's funny, Toby's been taking turns, Abby's been taking turns. You'd think that they would like it if I cut it up, but when I've chopped up organ meat like that in the past, they usually don't like to eat it all at once. And what they prefer is having it as like almost a weird, gross chew toy. Good morning, crew to moo. Hey, Belinda Carlisle. How's it going, sweetie? So Annabelle was actually Joey's mama. How's it going, sweetie? How are you doing? Everybody's coming to see me now. Looks like they don't need any hay today. I was saying earlier, right? Belinda, who's in the back there, and Bonnie, who's walking towards the hay pile right now, they're actually the same age as Joey was, or at least of yesterday. I mean, Belinda's a little bit older. Bonnie's like a few days or maybe a week younger. And then we got Macho Man. What's going on, guy? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Joey and Macho Man, kind of like frenemies. Like they spent a lot of time together and they really were always around each other. In fact, there's only a few days I can count on my hand where they actually weren't cohabitating the entire time over the past nearly 3 years. I guess it's like 2 years and 10 months or so, if I'm gonna be counting exactly. And I was always kind of sure that they sort of hated each other. And for the most part, their relationship was always kind of contentious because, you know, Macho Man, when he came to the farm, he was a little bit smaller than Joey because he was a little bit younger. And Joey had his testicles, so he had testosterone for a while. And even though he had been just recently castrated right before Macho Man came, he still was a little bit bigger than Joey was. And because of that, they always seemed to have a rivalry where Joey would push Macho Man around, but eventually, as Macho Man got to be a good deal bigger than Joey, it was pretty clear that like their relationship would always kind of stay the same. Like it was like the little brother who outgrew the bigger brother. And so even though he was smaller, the bigger brother still picked on the little brother. And at that point, Macho Man wouldn't take it. So they would have some fights occasionally. And if I'm being really honest with you guys, like sometimes it would make me feel unsafe. Like I often wouldn't go inside the pen to work with Macho Man because I'd get afraid that Joey would get jealous and then they'd start fighting. And not that either of them would attack me, but I would always worry that like I'd get trampled as part of the collateral damage. Hey, Joey. Hey. So to be able to sell beef and get your beef slaughtered in the United States, it can be a little bit complex. So if you want to be able to sell by the retail cut, you either need to be USDA inspected if you want to be able to sell the meat in other states, or in Vermont you can be state inspected and you can sell it by the cut, but only within the state of Vermont. And when I say retail cuts, I mean like if I wanted to be able to sell steaks and beef and like sell each like cut of meat individually, I could do it that way. But unfortunately, you know, the place that I had taken Kurt Cobain to, up in Lyndonville, which is, they're great people, they weren't going to be taking horned animals anymore because of their shoot and the problems that trying to manage an animal like that creates. I had booked another place about 3 hours away, but actually over the summer I got notification that they were no longer taking large horned animals either for the exact same reason. And so I had to come up with a plan B, and that's actually where Bruce and Darcy come into play. Because I couldn't find anybody to do it, the other option you have is you can do on-farm slaughter. And with on-farm slaughter, if you pre-sell the animal, you can actually sell halves or quarter cuts of the animal. So it's like, you know, each person has to buy a share. You're not able to sell it like you can only get steaks and you get the ribs, and you can't do that, but you can sell it by the half or the quarter. The downside to that is typically you're not going to sell it for as much. But the upside is, and this is actually kind of attractive for me, it's a lot less work and you don't have to spend as much time just doing customer management or going to farmers markets and doing all the selling practices that you need to typically do. And so on the advice of Ray and Janet, who are of Shad Acres, they're over in Plainfield, they have the oldest registered Highland herd in the United States, and they're actually where Macho Man came from. They're the folks that I bought him from. They recommended Bruce and Darcy, who are just this really friendly husband and wife team who have a company they call On-Farm Slaughter. And basically their whole business is showing up on people's farms and butchering chickens, goats, cattle, pigs. They do like pretty much everything. And that turned out to be my best option. And so we set a date for just yesterday. And a couple of days ago, I actually separated Macho Man out from the herd. And I swear to God, it was the easiest process you could ever go through. Because I've known him since the day he was born, I could just basically take a bucket of treats and rattle it and separate them out from the herd pretty easily, and then just walk them right on down to that gate over there. Joey! Come on! Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joey. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joey. Slow. Come on, Joe. There you go. Good boy. And let me just tell you, there was no fighting, there was no fussing, it was just gentle talk and walking him down. Honestly, the hardest part of it all was I had my two heifers, my yearling heifers, Belle and Betty, who are in the lower pasture. They got curious and they were actually trying to come through the other side of the gate, and so I didn't want that to happen. That was honestly my biggest problem and my biggest risk. Come on, Joe. Come on. Back up, back up, back up, back. Hip, 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 hip. Back. Back. Come on. Good boy, Joey. Good boy. But overall, the whole experience was easy. He spent some time with his half-sister Betty as well as Belle, so he wasn't all by himself. It was interesting though, because the animal that seemed most upset about Joey leaving the herd was actually Macho Man, his best friend and arch rival. I know, that wouldn't have been on my bingo card either. Oh, I see you there, Abby dog. You're not coming up here today. You got into trouble the other day. So as you guys might have seen earlier in this video, the other day, it was actually the day that I had Macho Man, that I was pulling him out of the herd. I had Abby up here and I had given her a camera and was just letting her wander around just to see what she did. And what she did was she bolted through the fence. And when she was jumping through the fence knocked the camera off of her collar, and it was like on the side of the fence there. And I don't know, it took me about 2 hours of searching with a metal detector before I actually found it. And I'm actually really not mad about her knocking off the camera. That's my fault. What I am mad about is the fact that she's trying to jump through that fence, which is not a good thing. And so I'm holding her back for the time being on being out here, even though she really wants to be over here and she's really trying to be a good girl.
24 hours to go. I wanna be sedated. Nothing to do and there is nowhere to go, bro. I wanna be sedated. Please take me to the airport and put me on a plane. Hurry, please, before I go insane. I cannot control my fingers. I cannot control my toes. Whoa, bro, I wanna be sedated.
You know, when I processed Kurt Cobain, it was kind of a stressful day because like I had to like fight and coax him into the trailer. The night I pulled him away from the herd, I could just hear him bellowing as I was trying to fall asleep. When we got to the processing center, even though everybody involved in the process was great, you know, he was scared and not happy, and we had to push and fight him into the chute, and I don't know, it just kind of sucked. Like, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was not the best thing either, and it's not what I really wanted for my animals. And it definitely made me wish we could have done it differently. But the morning that we processed Joey, it was simple, easy, and quiet, and to be quite honest, he didn't even know what hit him. You know, as you saw, I was able to just coax him in and separate him out from Betty and Belle and bring him into this yard, which is actually going to be the winter yard for the boys this winter. And Bruce came in with a large caliber rifle, and it was just one clean shot, and he just dropped, and he was it. That was it. He was done. You can see the blood's already washing out, but it all happened right here. He was shot, he was bled out, and kind of that was that. I saw you licking the blood earlier. It's okay, I don't judge you. And then once Bruce had bled him out, I came in with my tractor and the bucket, and we hooked him to the tractor with some chains, and we pulled him out, and I slowly and carefully drove him up here. And then right around in this spot here, with me using the tractor to move and lower and maneuver Joey, Bruce and Darcy went to quick work and skinned him, cleaned him out, and basically cut him into quarters so that we could take him to my butcher where actually the meat cuts are going to be made. Like the work that happened yesterday was he was just basically cut into quarters. And so like picture like the sides of beef hanging in a Rocky movie.
Move.
It was like that. And so that's what the slaughterer does. And now the butcher is going to be the one who gives me the steaks and the briskets and the ground beef and all the good stuff. That will be from the butcher, and that'll come in a few weeks after aging and processing and all that good stuff. And I gotta say, yesterday morning, being out here watching Bruce and Darcy work, they are incredibly talented people. And if anybody in the area really needs a good slaughterer for pretty much any type of animal that you might have on farm, I strongly recommend them and suggest you give them a call. I'll leave their info down below if you want to check them out. Now, I will say, trying to slaughter a cow by yourself or a steer by yourself is not something I would recommend, particularly if you haven't done a lot of that work in the past. It definitely takes a couple of people, and if I hadn't had the tractor, that work would have been probably 10 times harder. But honestly, it's not that bad if you have a skilled professional and a tractor. It was not too bad. Even though it limits some of the commercial potential of how I sell the beef, even when it comes to an animal like, you know, Elvis Presley is probably gonna be my next steer to get processed. Even when it comes to him, I'm actually thinking that I might just do it here because of how good the process was and just how low stress and simple it was for the animal themselves. You know, for me personally, it's one of those things that's really important, you know, treating my animals the right way all the way up to the day that they go. I mean, that's why I give even an animal like Joey Ramone a name. Like, if I just like treated him like he was a piece of meat from day one, I wouldn't feel very good about that. I give him a name to remind me constantly that he's a creature. I give him a dead rock star name so I don't forget the purpose of that creature. But I do think it is important to treat him with respect. And golly, I'll just say, on-farm slaughter seems like the best way to treat my steers with respect. And so that will be what I do again in the future. Guaranteed for the Highlands, but like I said, I might even end up doing Elvis that way too. Hey Toby Dog, we got something new and exciting to show everybody. That's right, I got the first copies of my new book, Dirt Rich Living. It's getting released this winter, but the pre-orders are available now. And I don't know, Abby Dog, what do you think? Does it pass the sniff test? I don't know, I'm just so excited to like finally have a tangible copy after working on this for like so flippin' long. And I don't know, I'm just really proud of it. And so if you get a chance to drop a pre-order, it would mean the world to me. The book is all about the story of how I left my job in the city to come out here to the farm and how I did it all without completely failing and falling on my butt. Spoiler alert, the answer is social media. And so if you'd like to get a copy, it's available for pre-order right now, and pre-orders help me out a lot because that sends the signal to the bookstores that they should carry it. And so yeah, Dirt Rich Living, it's coming soon to a bookstore near you, hopefully. Or maybe if you pre-order it, you've like helped. Wait, if you pre-order it, that'll help me get in the bookstore, but then you won't need to buy it in the bookstore. And I guess that's what they call the pre-order paradox. Now, it will be a few more weeks before I get the beef back, but I did get to sample last night. So on Bruce's advice, we took the hanging tender and I prepped it up for our supper last night, and Allison and I enjoyed, gosh, some of the best steak I've ever seen. You know, with Joey in general, the amount of fat and marbling that he had for an entirely grass-fed steer that's particularly a Highland, which aren't known for really great marbling, it was incredible. I will also say the fact that I had to wait and ended up keeping him through the entire summer and feeding him grass all summer, I actually think that that was a good choice too. You know, it didn't really cost me any extra money to do that, but waiting until like this time of year when I run out of grass is definitely the best time to do it versus trying to do it like midsummer or something like that, just because the processor has capacity. We pulled like an entire 5-gallon bucket of fat off of them too, which I'm gonna start rendering down, and we'll be making soap again from beef tallow this year. I've already pre-sold 2 of the quarters, and then Allison and I are planning on just keeping the other half for ourselves for our beef for the next year plus. And so that will be kind of what ends up happening to him. In my how much money did the farm make this year video, I will give you guys a full breakdown of those numbers when I have them, but I'm still just working on that for right now. And I'm just checking my text here from Bruce. Oh, his actual meat weight was 640 pounds too, which is kind of impressive. Like, because he was about 640 pounds, as well as based on some of the size estimates I had for him. His live weight at death was about 1,200 pounds, which for a Scottish Highland steer at 3.5 years old, that's pretty good. That's actually really good. It actually makes me feel good about my animal husbandry skills there. Like, even if I compare him to Kurt Cobain, Like, I used to think Kurt Cobain was a giant, but in comparison, he was much smaller than Joey or much smaller than Macho Man. He ended up producing about 450 pounds of beef. Like I said, when I get all my numbers back from the butcher, I will give you guys a tail of the tape at the end of the year. And I will say, the bucket that I have, I actually just weighed it. It's about 32 pounds of just beef fat there too. So that's gonna give me a lot of tallow. And I'm sure I'm gonna get more back from the butcher as well. So we'll see where that goes. And yes, my heart is heavy.
Your belly is full.
But I also feel like things went well, and it is a part of farm life. I'll be back again soon with another update from the farm. Until then, watch something else. And if you really want to hear the backstory of Kurt Cobain and even just me getting cattle, you should definitely pre-order my book, Dirt Rich Living. Thanks for watching, everybody.